Hey brothers and sisters, I hope you well. So I don't know if you remember in a previous video, I was telling you about the mineral deal that the United States wanted to do with Ukraine. So at the beginning, what the US offered Ukraine was 50% of the total revenues of the minerals from Ukraine to be given to United States in order to pay back all the money that the US has given to Ukraine for the war. Now, it's just a remark, okay? But a year and a half ago, I did say exactly this, that this is going to happen. I didn't specify how the Ukrainians will pay, but I did say that all the money that Ukraine will take from the United States for this war, they're going to have to pay back. Obviously, it hasn't been all, because quite a lot of money has been pardoned by Joe Biden, but the US is requesting a lot of money back, okay? So, obviously, Zelensky wasn't happy with what the US was offering, and he took his time to sign the deal. But now, finally, the deal has been signed. So, this new mineral deal between Ukraine and the US adds another layer to the discussion. So, while Washington dropped its initial demand for 100% control over the commercial fund, Ukraine is still committing to 50% of its future resource revenues to a fund tied to the US investment. However, the key details remain unclear, such as the US exact share and the terms of the joint ownership. So this deal aligns with Trump's statements about Ukraine getting $350 billion, loads of military equipment, and the right to fight on. It suggests that the US support for Ukraine might now be more transactional, potentially securing American economic interests in exchange for continued aid. So as you can see, the US is here for the business. They're not really here for the people of Ukraine. So if Trump is framing this as a way for America to get its money back, it raises the question, is this about supporting Ukraine or ensuring US control over really valuable resources? Also, with Marco Rubio, who is involved in the signing of these bipartisan engagement, not just Trump-driven strategy, because this guy, he's the one actually looking for business in Ukraine. So it seems like Ukraine doesn't have much choice here in this deal, and they have to depend on the United States in order to obtain weapons to continue fighting against Russia. So you can see the Trump administration kept saying that they want to find a solution to this conflict and to end the war, but at the same time they're willing to continue providing military support to Ukraine as long as Ukraine uses the natural resources in order to pay for the money that the US has given them and also to pay for US weapons. If this doesn't happen, according to Trump, Ukraine won't be able to continue fighting because the US is not going to provide them weapons. So watch, this is what the founder of the American PMC, Blackwater, Erik Prince, has said. He did say that I think that President Trump is right to end this war. There is a 0% chance that the Ukrainians will get all the land back. They should have made a deal 1.5 years ago. Then he says as well that Russia has many more people and much more ammunition. The defense industry in Western Europe and the United States is facing problems of underdevelopment and high production costs, which limits its effectiveness. Then he also said that he thinks that this should be a wake-up call to America, that their weapons do not work so well in Ukraine. They are not in great demand in Europe. And he said that some of these things might work for a month or two, so these weapons, but then the Russian electronic warfare finds a way to jam the navigation or the command line or wherever to make it useless. And then he ended up saying that the Russian military is much better and more lethal now than it was at the start of the war. So, I'm sorry, but this is something that I've been saying and many other people have been saying, because you do not need to be a rocket scientist in order to understand that Russia has more people, Russia is way bigger, Russia has the military power, and Russia has the means to increase their military output if they want to, in terms of building military material, okay? So we knew this. All they needed to do is to increase their economic output. And this is exactly what they did. Not only that, the fact that Russia went all conservative, because these European, American, Western companies left the country, all the Russian entrepreneurs took their space. So where there was a Starbucks, now there is some kind of Russian Starbucks. Where there was a McDonald's, now there is some kind of Russian McDonald's. And now many of these Western companies want to return to Russia. But obviously, most probably Russia will reject this after the treatment that they have received from America and from Europe as well. As you can see now, Trump is sending really mixed signals here regarding the war in Ukraine. He's not actually saying that he's going to end the war, because he continues saying that he's going to provide military support to Ukraine. So if you're a Russian, what will you think? And also, after listening to the statement of Erik, which is something that anyone that does a short investigation analysis of the situation in Ukraine, you come exactly to the same conclusion. There are many people that say that Ukraine cannot win in the battlefield. But after all, the aim of this was to change the regime, or to change the government, in Russia. It wasn't really to get Ukraine, to give weapons to Ukraine so they can win against Russia, but it was rather to decrease the popularity of Putin in Russia and to get the opposition, together with the frustrated Russians, to overthrow Putin or to remove him from power. Because they really thought that the sanctions would work. They didn't think that Russia is going to look towards the east, towards China, and they're going to start doing business together. You got two military powers, two economic powers doing business together. What do you expect if it's not a really positive outcome, which is exactly what is happening today? So whilst the West have become more isolated internationally, you have Russia and China that have been more connected to other countries in the world than ever before, because they're really stranded in that relationship with Europe, with America. And they were blind by them because they were they're big markets, okay? Europe is a massive market, so is America. So because they want access to the market, they have to comply with whatever laws they put against them or for them, okay? But since they show their true face, now they're working together in order to fight the USA and Europe and their plans to continue dominating the international sphere. They're even getting ready to recognize Taiwan as an independent country. This is pretty much a declaration of war against China. And China knows this, that the US administration today, they're willing to go as far as they went with Ukraine, but with Taiwan. And Taiwan is not Ukraine, okay? It's small compared to Ukraine. And China can surround the whole island, okay? So it's not the same situation. But we will see what's going to happen. Obviously, the Chinese have been getting ready for this scenario for a very, very long time. Okay, so as I say, what Erik say, anyone could predict that anyways. But I'm surprised now that all this is coming out. And also for those people that were thinking that Ukraine is going to win the war, many are here in Africa, they are in Europe, okay? They were actually thinking that Ukraine is going to win the war. Now they're getting the truth. How much support they got from the USA and how much they rely on the USA. Because as soon as the USA cuts its military aid, Ukraine will be completely lost. Not only that, they're forcing the country to sit in the negotiation table, and they're also conducting negotiations with Russia, and Ukraine is not even present there. So, as you can see, the whole political or international political game is changing, okay, due to the change of administration in the United States, and due to the massive economic and political shift from Russia more towards the east and other countries around the world. So that was the update from Ukraine. I hope you like it. Share this video, bookmark it, and as always, I'm continuing informing you.